I'm having a really hard time today. Um, I wasn't going to bother talking about anything. I was just going to like get through it and leave it there. But I do recognise that other people go through similar. Life isn't a fairy tale. It's incredibly challenging, and I think for most people it's too much. It's rarely fair. So, like, I'm not someone who would typically think about end of life, if you like, but even today, I'm like, I could, I've had enough. It's like, I don't always feel like that, but sometimes I just get fed up. I just think life's too. What's the point? In terms of like, how much? When you think about it, like, I don't really want to push people over the edge. So I'm really trying to be careful how I talk because last thing I want is to validate someone because it's not the case at all. There are beautiful moments in life, so I think we just need to remember that before we start going down any negative path. Anything can happen at any moment. Life does have miracles, and beautiful moments can stay. So let's not go down a totally negative path here, where we just think like there's misery everywhere. Because but I think it's important that we also, I think, recognize the challenges in life and the fact that it's often not fair. It's not balanced. There's a lot of weight of expectation on us all the time. Because most people conform to traditions. So, for instance, if you feel low, you feel sad, if you don't want to conform to something, people's natural instinct is to say, "Suck it up, get on with it." And it's like that's because they've settled. They're sheep. They've settled for whatever's tradition. But if you actually go back through history, you don't have to go too far. Look at the misery all the way through history. Think of one period in history when people were happy. Like if you've ever heard of it, there's been a happy period. Um, you could argue the 70s because they were all on drugs and all sorts of stuff. But again, that's all just stimulants to take you away from reality. If you actually think about genuine periods, it's all poverty, it's all war, and it's usually people marginalised and all sorts of things. Like, there's never been I don't know of history where there was a genuine period of peace and happiness, and that's frightening. So when misery exists today, I think we have to recognise that something needs to change. So there's so many areas of our lives, of course, So like what bring one person down may not be what brings someone else down because we're all, like I always talk about this, like even my books. There's a good chance we're missing something somewhere. So like you could be ambitious, you could be career minded, you could have all these goals. So money, career is everything. Like that's what you've got, and you're thinking, oh great, but you feel incredibly lonely, or you don't have community, or maybe you wish you had a family, or you're just looking for certain things. You don't want a big family, you want a little family, you just want people you can trust. All these things, but instead you have people taken off you. On the other side, you could have family around you, but you're poor. So or maybe you want to travel. So it's like all these little things. There might be something missing in our lives. So like what's bothering me might not be the same thing bothering someone else, but that doesn't invalidate what I'm going through, but also doesn't invalidate what they're going through. And that's the part I get a bit fed up in society is that when someone goes through something, someone inevitably comments back saying you don't know what it's like. It's like it's not a competition. People need to get away from that nonsense. It's okay for you to suffer, me to suffer, and we share the suffering. You know, it's it's not one person's worse than anyone else. It's not what we're aiming for here. It's to just share the fact that the world isn't very balanced. Something's got to give. So yeah, I mean, there's so many areas of my life that you could target, but of course, there's certain parts of the day where it hits us the most, doesn't it? Yeah, I think sometimes when you talk about things, some things surface. So I had a conversation yesterday, and I think it does spark something. We hide things. Well, I don't necessarily think we're hiding it. I think we just put it to the back of our mind, and you don't realize how miserable you are, even though you carry a lot with you. So like it opened up a can of worms in the sense that I don't have the life I want, and I say that all the time. Like, I'm not happy. I'm proud, and that's the case. It's like that's it. There's no point sugarcoating it. That's literally where I'm at in life. So the problem is the misery is compounded by really, really constrained finances. It's getting unbearable for me personally. Like I'm really getting fed up. It's one thing not being able to have luxuries, but I think when you're struggling just to pay your bills, and then you're looking, thinking, even the food's getting to like short, and then you're thinking, I need fuel in the car. So if I have appointments, you've got something for this. It's that you don't even have. You're losing access to freedom. That's when I get really fed up. It's like how much do I have to sink before I can swim? Like how much what's going on here? Now, if you was a lazy person and you don't really inspire anything, you're just giving up on life, then you kind of have to look at ourselves and think, well, just got to lift ourselves out of this a little bit. Let's try harder. I've been trying for years, like, and that's where I get annoyed. I say it a lot. If someone had put the effort I've put in, I think the majority of people would be successful. And that's not putting myself on a pedestal or trying to be a martyr, but I know the universe has a plan for me, and I'm getting sick and tired of being this tool to do this, to do that, to do that. I was even moaning to myself today, like, there's no, look, I hate that idea that you have to make someone struggle, and then when you give them a breakthrough, like it's a huge breakthrough and it can change your life, it just makes you like almost like brings them to tears with joy. I'm thinking you shouldn't need to put someone through such extremes to give them their breakthrough. I don't agree with it, and I know that's what my path is. And again, I'm not trying to suggest that I'm special in any way. I just know the work I've put in. I know it deserves to be successful. I know I'm ready for any breakthrough that comes. And I'm also aware of all the signs I have. So I'm not trying to push spirituality onto people, but I know what's prophesized for me. Um, but I get resentful of it. It's like, that's ridiculous. You shouldn't need to make me freaking at my lowest ebb, give me a breakthrough, and then give me tears of joy to the point where you go, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I don't need that shit. Just make it fair. That's all I've ever wanted. And when life isn't fair, I get really, really fed up. So then I start looking at the imbalances within society. And I know it doesn't just affect me. You know, I've got from my previous job, it wasn't just from that, it's compounded upon other jobs before that. But I've always done like manual work and forklift work. It hasn't always been forklifts, it's always mixed. Sometimes one job would have no forklift, another job would be just forklift, another job would be mixed between the two. But inevitably there's lifting. And the last job I had was really heavy stuff, up to about 30 kilos, but it was continuous, you know. So something's 15 kilos, another one's 10 kilos, another 12 kilos, another 5 kilos. But it's like, but you're having to constantly lift this shit because it was for a utility company. So effectively, that was a job for life, and it was a good salary. And it's something I didn't want to leave because it was a good salary, you know. And there's other reasons I left. It wasn't just for that, but it's a culmination of, and it was the catalyst, if you like. So I was off for a few months with the back injury. And then I had physio. Even a physiotherapist was like, he couldn't say it because he's professional, but he was nodding to me, yeah, I'd leave. And I just went back for I went back for like 6 months more, I think it was, because, you know, you don't just turn down opportunities, and it's like, but it did do damage to my back, and it's caused me issues since. So even if I was just lawn mowing now, like something as simple as lawn mowing, if I do half the lawn, my back's going to be like hurting. Like, it's going to really hurt, and then I'm going to come in, and then I'm going to be hurting on the bed for ages. Like, and that's literally what my back's like now. So I have, if I sit on a sofa, I have to put prop cushions behind my back. I've got a reclining part of my sofa, which is fortunate, so I can lay back on that. In this chair I'm sitting in now, I used to have this padded cushion on a different chair, but this one's actually got a plastic bit that pushes my back, so it allows you to sit like natural. So like most chairs don't. That's why I didn't want one of them high ones, because they say they're back protection. They don't at all. You end up doing this. You end up having to live, and as you lean forward, you put so much pressure on your back all the time. So I don't want to digress and go too far into that, but it has cost me job opportunities, like things I would naturally apply for. I can get out of the situation. It's like, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. So you had a lot more depth to your opportunities in career, just to make some money, really. Um, so yeah, so I recently, redid the forklift license just to give myself options, but I get resentful of it because I know I'm good enough at what I do here, but why is there no money? You know, I'm doing it for free. It's just crazy. And like I say, I'm struggling at home, and I can cope. I always have found ways to cope, but it's getting to the point where it's excessive now. And it's not the fact that it's just excessive, it's prolonged. It's prolonged suffering. It's like, who wants to live like this? Like, it's not fun. You struggle to pay your bills, struggling for food, but then and again, it restricts your ability to travel, even if you need to just go somewhere basic. And then you start looking and thinking, this is just the basic of life. Like, this is just the fundamentals. Where's the balance? And it's really hard. Like, for instance, I know someone would then say, just take anything. The real problem is, and this is what I was getting to, I'm not trying to like be all like, I don't want people feeling sorry for me. That's not what I'm getting at. And I get what people say when they say, just suck it up and do that. And that's how people get by. That's how they live. And then you see them people, they are absolutely miserable, and they're fed up with life, putting themselves in places that cause them misery. So my point really is, why can't we all just get by doing what we love? Why is life got to be so hard that that's not possible? Why can't we find something we're great at, something we really, really love, and just everybody be successful doing that, whatever it is for each of them. Wouldn't life be fairer and it'd be beautiful? Instead, we all have to put ourselves in toxic places. There was an interview I was supposed to go to today. I got up slightly late. And again, I look at things from the universe and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why make me get up late? But I don't think it was for me. It was nights, and I'm someone that keeps thinking I can do this, I can do that. Oh, I'll be fine. I don't think I can handle. I think I can handle nights for like a week or two. I don't think I can do it prolonged. So I don't think that's for me. I think, what's for me will come. And then I was thinking about the role, and I'm like thinking it's probably going to have heavy shit anyway. Like, I can't do it if it's heavy. I just can't. So there's no point someone hiring me and then you start throwing heavy crap at me because I can't do it. I'm not there to do heavy lifting. And of course, a lot of the working conditions are toxic, they're crap. And it's really hard for the soul to just put yourself somewhere where you feel trapped like a prisoner, like especially when you've done so much healing on yourself. And that's the part I'm having a real big problem with. It's not just the fact that money is a crisis. It's also the fact that I refuse to make myself a prisoner. And I don't think a lot of people can get their head around that, because a lot of people, they just succumb to expectation. They just do it. And I say all the time, like, you work, if you work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, you don't have much time in the evening. You just don't. You're preparing for tomorrow. Then when the weekend comes, Saturday you're getting over the week you've just had, and Sunday you're preparing for the next week. That's what's happening to people. They just don't have an awareness of it. They're ignorant. So if you find something you love, it's not heavy, because you're not really anticipating the week ahead, because it's just you enjoy it, and you haven't had to get over much at the weekend because you've enjoyed work. I still think everybody should only work 4 days a week. I think 5 days is too much. There's no balance there. It's not enough time off to relax and recover and enjoy life, have moments, And people would consider that lazy, but each to their own. The alternative is you do 4 on, 4 off, but then there's 12-hour shifts, and 12-hour shifts, it's like, that's insane. When you put it into perspective, there was a job I did a long time ago, well, a few years ago, and I used to do overtime, and it was 6 till 2, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then I'd sometimes stay on till 4 or 5. Sometimes, like, any time I finished at 5, I was always wrecked when I got home. Like, you just look at me, and I was like a pal and all sorts. You just pushed yourself too hard, And now I know 4 on, 4 off, you get more break, you got more rest days, but there's still a push, I think, every day, and depending how far you got to travel as well. So yeah, this is my point. And I know, like, again, I know the reaction. Before I even finish a sentence, I know people's reaction. So it's not telling me anything new by saying just suck it up. That's what I know the majority of people are thinking. But my point is, either way, you're going to suffer. So you've got to ask yourself, what is the best? What one can you cope with the most? Can you cope with poverty? Yeah. Can you cope with poverty? Or can you cope without your freedom? What one can you cope with more? Because you have to give something up. For the majority of positions, you're giving something up. I just can't give my freedom up. I can't make myself a trapped prisoner and I feel that entangled. It drives me nuts. I can deal with poverty. I can deal with, like, food being so basic and things are hard. It's not fair. It's crap. And I'm not saying it's a great life. It's not. It's really hard. But I can't be a prisoner to a place or a circumstance, toxic conditions. I've outgrown that shit, man. I can't be around it. It would drive me, I'll snap. I would walk out. If something's not right, I would either, I'm quite outspoken anyway. I'll tell someone what I think. But sometimes I'm getting to the point of evolution where it's like, I don't even see the point of wasting my breath unless I'm challenged. If I feel I need to, then I will. Otherwise, I'll just keep it to myself. I can't even bother to explain myself. It's too long a conversation. It's like, it's not even worth it to validate. Let's just go. That's really part of the problem. So I'm like trying, there's been a few jobs, but they've all had issues, and for the most part, it literally comes down, for the most part, it does come down to my back. Like, what can my back handle and sustain? And I look around and I'm like, that's going to require that, that's going to require that. But sometimes it's things like the working hours, the conditions as well. And it's like, for me personally, I'm looking at, like, warehouse roles that I've done in the past. And it's like, first of all, I don't think I'm not sure of my capacity to do them anymore. And then there's another side that doesn't even want to. Like, I've outgrown it. Why the hell am I in a warehouse when I've put so much into healing and helping people? There was a conversation I was having yesterday, and I said I'd be great at, because I said it doesn't, like, when you've got a background in something, it's hard to open a door to something else. So, like, for instance, like my books, that's all well and good, but it still doesn't give you office experience or something in a different niche. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you're always, in a traditional sense, when you apply for jobs, You're still stuck in the past. And I said, I'll be great at therapy and things like that. I could help people because I'm a good communicator. I can sit and listen. I can help give people direction, and I'll be great at that. And the person I was talking to said, well, you're already doing that with your books. I thought, yeah, I am. It's just not reaching enough of an audience. And when it does, it helps me and it helps them because, of course, I make a living off of it. And then my career improves. And, of course, I'm helping uplift and transition people's lives. So yeah, but sometimes I think, I'm going through my own crisis. How much support, how much use am I to other people, But I do recognise that people just need sometimes to see a different perspective as well. It's not like you're not trying to live through my shoes, because we're all going to have our own goals. We're going to have different tolerances. Right now, I'm just at a crisis. It is a crisis point. It's really hard. Like things are just compounding upon compound, financially. And it's just like, where do you turn? I don't know what. Even I'm at a loss. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, because the roles are just not good enough. Like I can't handle 12-hour shifts. I don't think I can. I want to. Of course, this is the thing. You want to be superheroes. I'm 42 now. I can't handle that shit. And I'd love to do night shifts. I stay up late a lot of the time. But can I see myself 5 days a week potentially? Constantly working nights. It's like, my God, because I've done nights in the past. There's good days, there's bad days. Some days you fall asleep before work and you turn up late. It's like, that can happen, Because you can have the intention. It's like if you think about work in general, most jobs, of course, you've gone to sleep, you wake up, you go straight into work. You might be a bit groggy from waking up, but you've had a good rest, you've gone into work. If you do night shift and you go, right, I'm just going to go to sleep and I'm going to enjoy the day. The real and that's how I usually am. So the real problem with that is you had your sleep earlier. And by the time you get to the end of the day, you're close to your next bedtime. That's what it feels, So you ideally need a nap before you go in. Otherwise, you're starting to slow down, you get tired. And if you get really tired, of course, you're going to be late. Yeah, I just think jobs should be adaptable. Personally, I think too much is required of people. I think the wages are not high enough, and I think the hours are too long. I just don't think there's any balance to anything. When you do that, when you see that 4 on 4 off thing, I'd rather it was just 4 days a week. And even if you just made it an extra hour and a half each day, and then you got the Friday off or something. So if you was working Monday to Thursday, that's what I think. That's what I think it should be. I mean, jobs just require too much of us. It's outrageous. And like I said, you lose your freedom. So I have that feeling that once you enter a business, you're locked and caged until you're allowed to be let out again, and that really frustrates the shit out of me. Only because I know most places are toxic. They're poor leadership. It's inept leadership, and that's rife around the world. You don't even have to look in workplaces. You only have to look at nations and the countries with leadership. Do you trust any of them? And then you look at let's say you look at any government. You look at whoever the leader is. Then you look at the politicians below them who are in support or whatever, and they're supposed to be the voice of the people, but they're not. You don't trust them, and you don't trust the leader. It's the same in the workplace. You get, obviously, the top boss who only cares about money, which is understandable, it's their business. Then you get the person just below him who goes on a power trip, who thinks they're the boss, but they're not quite the boss, but they have to report back all the time. And effectively, all the pressure they get from the top just keeps trickling down, 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 down. So you end up with this situation where you can't really trust the person you're speaking to because there's an agenda. They're never really looking out for you. They're looking out for the bottom line, so they don't take the pressure. I was talking to someone recently, like yesterday, and I said I couldn't be a team leader, a manager. I couldn't do those roles. I could do it, but I couldn't do it for them. In the sense that if someone was putting pressure on me to put pressure on the people below me, I would shield them. So if I know the people that are working for me, like under me, they were doing the best they can with the time they have. I couldn't put them under pressure. So, like, for instance, let's say they have a certain way of working. Let's say they have a little bit of a period where they're resting slightly. They're not going as fast. They may be chatting. That's building morale. You've got good teamwork. That's important. Let's say there's a period of the day where they're just a bit slower, but by the end of the shift, they always get the work done, and there's times when they just go flat out. A boss at the top might look and think, well, they should be able to do that all day. If they could do that then, they should do that all day. And then the pressure starts coming to get them to do it. And it's that now they're just machines. And it's like, no, they can only do that because they had that moment. And I think you should just appreciate what they've managed to do and be realistic, especially when you don't even pay them like incredible amounts of money. You want them to do that, you could ask them and then offer to pay extra money because you're saving on extra workforce. And that's what I'm talking about. Businesses are corrupt as shit. They're as bad as the freaking the politicians and the leaders of the world. And I know people then say, just suck it up. But it's like, that's who you've got to work for, though. And I have a hard time listening to people who I don't trust or respect. That becomes a problem. So yeah, my position in this world, I don't particularly enjoy. Yeah, I'm not someone I'm morbid or anything, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, just when the end's finished, it'll be peaceful, won't it? That'd be nice. It's like just not. This world's dense. It's so heavy. It's not fair. And a lot of us are put in this position to break the cycles, to speak up on it, and instigate change for the next generations. So you're going to have current generations, or people who I consider sheep, are going to hold on tight to what they have because it's working for them somehow. They don't want to look deep into their psyche. They don't want to look at the imbalance. They're happy to be a robot. They're happy to just work to death with no purpose to it. You've worked yourself to death almost. You've bought yourself some luxury goods which are actually meaningless. Maybe you've managed to have a holiday for 2 weeks a year. Maybe you've gone on a holiday, you've had that holiday, and that's a nice blessing for yourself. Look how much suffering you did to get it. And you think it's normal? Like, it's only normal because everybody does it, so it's typical. Is it right? Is it right? No. People should be treated with more dignity and respect. So it's really hard for me to exist in a world where that isn't normal. So I have a hard time conforming. Look, it's going to mean nothing to me, a stranger judging me, because I already have judgment in my own life from people who know me. They expect me to be like them, So a stranger judging me is going to be irrelevant, because it doesn't change anything within my own life. We're all accountable. The point is, when a breakthrough comes, let's say a breakthrough comes for me, and I've had high standards, and I've suffered immeasurably, and life gets better. There's going to be people who think, well, why them? How did it come so easy for them? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how the hell was it ever easy for me? I just refuse to accept shit. My standards are too high. And by saying that, that means I'm prepared to suffer as a consequence. I'm prepared to be poor to have my freedom. And it's like, but the challenge there is, what does freedom mean to other people? And what would you sacrifice for your freedom? Most people wouldn't. Most people just cared about money. And they'll lose the rest of their life for it. I've always found that quite insane. But at the same time, who am I to say? I'm here struggling to cover the bills, struggling to stock up the food. And it's getting to the point where I'm losing it. I'm getting fed up. So, yeah, I mean, in this world, I don't think anyone can be right, can they? All we can do is hold on to our values, though, and just say, look, I deserve better than this, and I'm not. I'm at a point in life where I just won't allow myself to choose misery long term. So I see it as, okay, I'm poor. Okay, I'm struggling. Okay. But the difference here between my situation and someone who just settles is my circumstance can change at any moment. A breakthrough can come unexpectedly, even though, like I said at the beginning, I don't think it's very reasonable for you to have a complete despair and then the breakthrough comes and you're supposed to go, wow. It's like, mate, this has been life should be far fairer than this. But the reality is anything can happen at any moment. I do put the work in, so it's not a laziness. And I think that's the part where people probably get triggered way before now. The perception there is you're doing nothing. I do everything. I'm always doing my books. I'm always working on myself. I'm always processing. I'm always sharing. I'm always trying to help other people heal and see life beyond what they've experienced or what people expect. And I do my books and all sorts. So there's plenty I do. I just don't get rewarded for it. But that doesn't mean it's irrelevant. And it doesn't mean I shouldn't be rewarded for it. So that's the difference. So at any moment, my life can transform. A breakthrough can come. A career could happen in the field that I desire. Everything can just get beautiful. But the way I see it is if someone keeps themselves in a toxic, unhealthy situation where they don't have freedom, at what point do you think you're going to gain that freedom? because I don't see how a miracle's going to come that takes you out of that situation when you decided to trap yourself. And that's the difference. So, like, it might seem that I'm losing now, and perhaps I am, but I have all my time in the world to do things on my terms. When I decide to do a video, I'll press record. When I want to do this, I'll do that. When I want to work on the book, I'll do it. You know, I can work in my own time. I like that freedom. That's freedom. Someone that puts themselves somewhere they're miserable and it's unhealthy, it's like, at what point does that change, though? Because it's unlikely something's magically going to happen unless you change your circumstance, is it? And that's the way I see it. It's like I can trap myself like a caged animal, or I can embrace my freedom. Either way, there's consequences to either side. Okay, you don't have to worry about money all the time. Maybe your things are covered. It gives you a bit of peace that way. But the misery will be projected anyway, because that's why people say, "Suck it up, just get on with it, just do it," because that's what they've settled for. So they're validating their misery. If they see everybody else is doing it, it's normal. If you're doing something else, it challenges maybe their perception of reality and what they should be doing, and how much they can cope through hardship. So anyway, both sides of a coin. Either way, I just think when this life is finished, I don't have to worry about this shit anymore. It's like, this is just doing my head in. It's just, like I say, one of my biggest traits is that bothers me the most is injustices, and I just don't. I think the whole world is an injustice. So for someone like me, it's like a living hell. Trying to find peace in hell. It's not the easiest thing to do. It really isn't. But all you can do, the way I see it is, like I say to people, is one foot in front of the other. All we can do is just keep walking, keep moving forward, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. Well, most of the time there is. You just don't know how long the tunnel is and how long it's going to take to get there. But if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, the light will come. And finally, the breakthrough happens. But if you look at what I'm doing, I think if you have a long-term view, because that's what I am, I'm pragmatic. If you have a long-term view of what I'm doing, although, okay, reckless, and you consider the actions of someone keeping themselves in a place of business where they're not happy, but they pays the bills, if you think about in the next 10 years, who has the potential to be happy and who doesn't? Because I'm not saying I'll get the breakthrough, and I'm saying potential. If money was to come to me, like, not just money, of course, I'm talking about, I want relationship, I want things. If life come to me and it come on my terms to a degree, of course there's flexibility and things. But for the most part, if I stay true to who I am and I'm picky about the roles I take or I'm interested in, and I find things that work for me, I would argue in 10 years' time, I would expect the pieces of the puzzle to come together, and I've allowed myself the freedom to have that opportunity. I just think too many people, they forgo that freedom and that chance. They get to old age, they look back and think, what the hell happened? And it's like, you didn't challenge yourself beyond your comfort zone. That's why I think it's great when you see people just say, like, I'm traveling, I'm leaving, I'm just going to go and do stuff. And then people always question them, oh, yeah, but you're going to lose this. What about that? That's because people are just so freaking stuck in their ways. They're terrified of change. Once you're used to losing things, it's not so much of a fear of losing it, because you know it's replaceable. And often you can have a different experience and something's perhaps going to be better anyway. Yeah, I mean, this probably took more of an uplifting beat, I guess, from when I started, because it was starting with complete misery. I think I've just given myself a bit of a pep talk in myself, to be honest, to recognize that, like, do I believe that things will change? For sure I do. Like, I'm 100% confident my life will not be like this forever. But today it's hard, and it's been hard for a long time. So the misery, like I said, just compounds upon itself, and it's just heavy, And it's that unfairness. What can you do? What can you do? All you can do is keep putting one foot in front of the other, I guess. But anyway, hopefully this has been some help to people one way or another. Whether and I always say that I'm not here to try to convince people of anything. On the one hand, it might emphasize to people their path and they're happy to do what they're doing. To other people, maybe it opens their eyes and makes them reflect upon things. Um, on the one hand, sometimes misery loves company, so people might feel comfortable because you're suffering and they're suffering too. And for other people, maybe it makes them feel better about their life because they're doing better. Either way, I think there's a cause for everything. So I could like record this video and not post it, but I'm not like that. If I record it and I think I've said something, I'm going to post the video, regardless of reactions and things. But yeah, things are not always as straightforward as you would assume. I think, to be honest, when people meet me and I'm talking to them, I think they would be surprised that I'm struggling. And that's not, again, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or not anything, but I often surprise people with my ability to communicate and my intelligence. And even I look on and think, I don't understand why I'm poor either. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It's not like I'm not trying. It's not like I don't try here. I record the video, I post it the same as everybody else. I'm not interested in, one thing about me is I'm not interested in fake shit. I don't like over promoting myself, which is why I like to just put the photo of the book instead of me just talking about them all the time. I don't like all that promotion stuff. And I don't like clickbait headlines. I'll just put the truth, like whatever the video's about is what the video is. I'm not interested in clickbait shit. I'm not into all that. And I recognize if I was fake and I did things in a different way, I probably could build the platform bigger and bigger. But I don't want to be anything other than me. But it just means my path's longer and it's freaking hard. Um, but it hasn't been through a lack of effort, for sure. Anyway, hopefully that's been some way to make sense. Like I say all the time, I don't know what I've said. I know roughly what I said, but I'm not here to. I can't rewind and hear certain things back. Hopefully it was worth watching. If not, nobody's got this far. I think that's the way to reflect upon. I don't check analytics. I don't care. I just make my videos and move on. So if people only usually get 30 seconds in, I would never know because I don't care about that sort of stuff. I just create. And it's like if it's helped someone and they've got this far, then it was all worth it, wasn't it? It's only time. It's time, isn't it? It's like it's a fraction of my time to do these things. But yeah, it's just a bit of a tough day today. I'm someone that doesn't stay there though. That's the thing. I think that would surprise people as well. Like I could have a really low day today, or even just a low period. I could pick myself up within an hour, half an hour. It depends. My mind, because I just switch my mindset and I focus different avenues. I don't see the point of staying sad forever because I'm not going to be happy there. So I'll find things to help me out of it, or so I'll distract myself, or I'll just do something just to make myself happy for a moment. There's no point making myself miserable. So if there's a stress, it's like just do something that's not stressful. Then just do something to chill out, and then your mindset shifts. So like even if I'm down today, like for instance tomorrow, I could be a completely different frame of mind. But I can be a different frame of mind, but that doesn't necessarily change the circumstance. When if it's from something else, you can cope with it. So if it's like relationship losses and things like that, you can do that because you can invest in yourself, less reliance on other people. So you can transition, I think, easier through that. When it's a financial constraint, it's a bit harder because even when you get up tomorrow, you've still got that financial constraint. And there's always this pressure. So when it's financial, I think it's just a lot harder to outgrow it or outpace it. It's there. So yeah, so for me, I've just got to look at ways to make an income. Really, it's really frustrating. My books have been selling like one at a time, and I'm pretty sure I know who it is, and I really appreciate that. So if they've got this far, I understand. I do appreciate the fact you have invested in the books, which would suggest you're enjoying the books, which is great. And I'm hoping at some point it reaches more people because then it changes my life and helps change theirs too. But I think just having an impact on anyone's life, I think, is enough of a success story. And I know I've had an impact because people have come to me throughout my life. Not in waves of loads of people, but just random person there. And it's easy to forget that. It's easy to sort of think, oh, I should be doing more. This should be successful, blah, blah, blah. But when I think about the fact that I've had a positive impact on people's lives, I've had a negative impact too. Let's not get that wrong. I've had a positive impact though. And I think that's something to, cherish and appreciate. That you've done something good. And I can be proud of that. But now I just want a bit more for me. It's like, Nat, please, I'd like my chance now. Thank you. But anyway, that's where we're up to.